Hello, greetings to you, my dear students. Today we are going to see part 3 lecture of Graphical Transformations, my dear students. Already we have seen 2 lectures in this topic and I have explained you in depth of the concept, my dear students. If you haven't watched those 2 lectures, please go and watch it, my dear students. Even if you skipped the second one, please watch the first one. In first one only, I have explained everything, my dear students. Why we need graph, in what are the subjects, in what are the topics we are using this graphical transformation, why it is very important for JEE aspirants to learn everything I have explained over there, my dear students. In this part 3 lecture, let me tell you what I am going to explain you in this today for next 15 to 20 minutes. What we are going to see, how we are going to see everything. Let's see, my dear students. So what we are going to see means, in first lecture, my dear students, we have seen why we need graph and I have explained you everything. What are these? Why? So this is the divisions of the functions. Already I have explained you in detail, my dear students. In here, polynomial functions we are covering right now. In this today lecture, we will entirely finish all the polynomial functions, my dear students, by giving the generalized term. Already we have seen identity function x and x square function, and in this today video we are going to see what is x cube. And after seeing this x cube, let's generalize the terms, my dear students, because we have covered identity function x, x square, x cube. Hereafter everything will be the repetitions of this. So how we can do, how we can roughly approximately we can calculate the generalized term for the polynomial function, my dear students. In next part, in next lecture, let me explain you what is rational function and what is irrational function piecewise, and then the whole transcendental functions, my dear students. Everything we will cover by doing research by from the graph. What are the things we can get, everything we'll discuss, my dear students. Don't skip the video, please watch it. Okay, so after this, these things already I have explained you, my dear students. If you haven't watched this lecture, please go and watch this lecture. Just I'm showing you the slides. Already I have explained everything, how to, what are the tricks to find one-to-one onto for identity function as well as for x square. I discussed everything, my dear students. I also paste the link in the description box. Please go and visit that video. Okay. So now our hero of the day, our hero of this lecture is x cube function, my dear students. So first let's see how we can draw the graph. Plotting the graph is very easy, my dear students. As we are going to take the graph and we are going to mark the values. -1, -3, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since it is cubic function, my dear students, in y-axis, let me take with the units 3, my dear students. Why I am going to take that? Because for 1 it will give me 1, but for 2 itself it will go to 8. This increases the value exponentially, somewhat high. So, but here if I can draw means I can't. So only I am taking with 3, my dear students. I hope you understood it. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. In the same way, here also -3, -6, -9, -12. Everything, my dear students. Now for 1, what value I'll get, my dear? Let me start with 0. So I hope you all know, for 0, I will get 0 alone, my dear students. There is no issues. For 1, what I'll get, my dear students? For 1, it's 1 only. Approximately it will be here, my dear students. For 2, what is the answer, my dear students? For 2, it's 8. Less than 9. In the same way, for -1, again I'll get what, my dear students? -1 only. So it will be approximately like here. And for -2, I'll get the answer -8. if I connect all these lines, my dear students, I will get such a smooth and nice curve, like a mountain, like that pin curve, right, my dear students? Like that, it goes smoothly, my dear students. This is what the x cube function graph. Once if you anyone they have asked what is x cube, this thing have to come in your mind, how it bends, how it goes. That's the very important thing, my dear students. Now let's do the research. What is the domain for this function? What is the range? Whether it is even, odd, everything. Let's see, my dear students. So this is what our graph, my dear students. Such a smooth and nice curve. You can memory it. It's a very good function. We can learn so many things from here, my dear students, and it is very useful for us also. So what is graph of x cube? Now we are going to find what is the domain, my dear students. So in this function, wherever I take the value, it is having some output wherever. So any point, let me take 0.5, 0.6, for everything. That cube might be complicated, but the value is there, my dear students. So for any of the value, it is not going to be undefined. Since it is not going to be undefined, my domain is R, my dear students. I hope you understood it. If it is R, means what is the interval, my dear students? It's minus infinite to plus infinite. This is the answer, my dear students, for domain. Next, for range. My range is also the R, my dear students, because here you can see x cube, it is covering negative quadrants as well as the positive quadrants. It's taking the values from everywhere of the graph. It is not leaving the single side, single part of the graph. Since we can say the range of this graph is R. But in last lecture we have discussed x square function, my dear students. In x square function, the graph is like this, the upward parabola. Since it is the upward parabola, down direction is completely omitted. So my range is restricted to positive real numbers as well as 0 has taken. So what we have said, my dear students, R plus union 0. That is very important, my dear students. But here my x cube function, it is taking the all values. It is not like the x square function. It is only traveling in positive quadrants. But here it takes the value from positive, negative, everywhere in the graph. So my ranges is also R, my dear students. Now symmetric about what, my dear students? In x square I have said it is symmetric about y axis because it divides the graph equally at y axis. But here where it cuts, my dear students? At origin. At origin means you can also say it is symmetric about origin. If I completely erase this part, means also again if I completely erase this part, both are going to be same, my dear students. As I said before, our face, from half of the face, if I see from here, means also it will be same. From here means also it will be same. Likewise, it is symmetric from origin, my dear students. From origin, if you see, they both look symmetric. You can also say symmetric about opposite quadrants because it's first quadrant, it's third quadrant, they both are, it's positive, it's negative. Like that also we can say, which is symmetric about origin or quadrants, opposite quadrants, my dear students. Okay, my dear students, which is also called as opposite quadrants. And then, my dear students, periodic function. In last lecture also I said periodic is the basic thing. In polynomial, most of the cases it won't come. Only in piecewise and trigonometric functions it used to come, my dear students. Periodic function definition, I hope you all know. Here my value starts from 0. Again at certain point, certain number, I have to get 0. If I am getting that, means it's a periodic function. Like sun, moon, my dear students, after 12 hours my sun will come. Evening 6 o'clock it will go down, it will sunset, and again the sunrise will be at morning 6 o'clock. It is the periodically, surely it will happen. But here For x is equal to 0 alone, it's 0. Apart from that, for any point will it give 0, my dear students? No, right? It's completely increasing. This side it's completely decreasing. So it is not a periodic function, my dear students, but piecewise functions are there. On that time I will explain you which are the functions are periodic and which are the functions which are not periodic. You have to be very careful, my dear students, because these things comes, we have so many properties. When it comes to calculus, I'll explain you in depth, my dear students. For JEE, you have to spend little more time for lectures, my dear students, because here your understanding matters a lot. Please keep that in mind. Okay, so it is not periodic, my dear students. So I left the even odd function. So even odd function, in last lectures I said in depth what is even function and odd function. Even function means f of minus x is equals to f of x. For odd function, f of minus x is equals to minus f of x. So here I have x cube function, my dear students. So f of minus x is equals to what, my dear students? Minus x cube. Again I am getting minus, my dear students. So it is the odd. It is not a even function. Here from graph also we can say, as I said, which is also covers the negative quadrants. If the graph covers every part, negative quadrants, then we can say it is the odd function. So it is the odd function, my dear students. Next, for one-to-one and onto, it's a very good thing, my dear students. One-to-one and onto, already I have discussed you everything. What is one-to-one function, what is onto function, from graph how we need to find whether it is one-to-one or onto, everything I have discussed. From graph how I can say, my dear students, for one-to-one function I have to draw the line. If the line cuts exactly at single point, then that function is the one-to-one function. If it cuts at multiple times, if I have the graph like this, and it cuts at more than one point, then which is not a onto function, my dear students. It violates the definition of the one-to-one function. So which is one-to-one function, my dear students? What I said, if x1 is equals to x2, then f of x1 have to be equals to f of x2. If x1 not equal to x2, then f of x1 also not supposed to not equals to f of x2, my dear students. So here in my case, for me no problem, my dear students. Whatever I'll take, I'll get the exactly the same values only. For me here no problem. See here x1, x2 is there. So if I take x1 equals to 1 means I'll get 1. If I take f of 3 means I'll get 27. So for everything I'll get an individual value. So my function also will be equal only, my dear students. There is no doubt in that. Even if sorry, which is not equal, my functional value is also going to be not equal, my dear students. Even if you take for negative, for f of 1 it's 1, f of minus 1 it's minus 1 only. So it is an one-to-one function, my dear students. Here onto function, as I said before, for onto function, what is matters, my dear students? For onto function, codomain matters a lot, because the definition of onto function itself, y is equals to x. In codomain, everything have to be in range. Every values, every pre-image have to be mapped, my dear students. Every image have to be mapped to the pre-image. If it is not mapped, then which is not a onto function. From graph, how we can say, my dear students? Wherever I draw the line, it have to at least at one point, it have to strike. If it is not striking at least at one point, then that function is not an onto function for or, my dear students. Here you have to be careful with domain and range. If the domain and range is very, very important, my dear students. If I redefine the range means some cases it might come onto. But if you are taking or means for the entire graph, wherever I draw the line, even it can come more than one time, that doesn't matter, my dear students, but it have to strike. That matters a lot. Okay. So here it strikes everywhere, my dear students. So it is an onto function. I hope you understood it. Already I have taught this in well explained manner, my dear students. You can watch the first lecture. I also added the time steps, so you can directly go and click the time and you can watch that. Okay. So it is an onto function, my dear students. In or everywhere it cuts the graph. So it is an onto function, no problem at all. Then it's a bijective function or not. Since one to one and onto are there in every cases with or, surely it is the bijective function, my dear students. One to one is also called as injective function, onto is also called as surjective function. So since they both satisfy, this function is called as bijective function, my dear students. And here increasing and decreasing function, whether it is increasing or decreasing, sir, as I said before, this one is both, my dear students. For interval wise it differs, whether it is increasing, whether it is decreasing, it depends upon the interval, my dear students. For some part it is increasing and for some part it is decreasing. We have to analyze and think, my dear students. Okay. Then derivative, differentiation. As I said before, the differentiation will be there if the graph is smooth and continuous. Here it is smooth as well as continuous, my dear students. So surely it is the derivative function, it has the derivative, it is the differentiable. So these things are very important in calculus, my dear students. So here x cube is there. So 3x square is the derivative function, my dear students, derivative value for x cube. I hope you all know about this, my dear students. If you have any doubt, please ask me in the comment section. I hope you liked this video. And still it's there, my dear students. Still now we have covered for itself 17 minutes. Okay. Now I have to generalize the term, my dear students. I have explained you the x cube function, everything, domain, range, symmetric, everything I have explained. Now the generalized term for the every polynomial function. So that is what they have explained, my dear students, which is also called as the cube function. The domain and range of the cube are both equals to r, and since y is equals to x cube is an odd function, so its graph is symmetrical. So my dear students, as I said before, if the function is an odd function, it will be symmetrical about origin, my dear students, or symmetrical about quadrants. If it is an even function, it will be symmetrical about y axis. Okay, my dear students, even if I take y is equals to minus x cube, I'll have the graph like this only. So that again it satisfies the same all the law. It is symmetric about origin, symmetrical, so it is the odd function. Everything will be satisfied, my dear students. That's what they have mentioned. So now generalize the term, my dear students. X power 2n. Already we have seen what is x square. Now for x power 2n means x power 4, x power 6, x power 8, whatever the in power even function is there, the same rule, whatever I explained in x square function, everything will be satisfied, my dear students. Domain, range, periodic, symmetric. Please go and watch if you don't haven't watched that lecture. Okay, so if n belongs to capital N is an entirely even function, my dear students, you no need to have any kind of doubt. If it is the even function which is always symmetric about y axis, sometimes they will ask these properties in question, my dear students, to trick you, to make you to forget. So but don't forget, my dear students, once if you are strong in graph, you never ever forget it, my dear students. Okay, now also x square greater than x power 4 for all minus 1 comma 1. So in this interval my x square will be greater than, my dear students. Here you can see from minus 1 to 1 alone x square will be greater. After that it will be reversed. How, sir? Why, sir? Because, my dear students, for 0 it will give 0, that is common. Okay, but when it comes to, they have said minus 1 to 1 alone. If I am taking 1 by 2, 1 by 2 means what, my dear students? It's the rational. So if I square it, it will become 1 by 4. Compared to 1 by 4, 1 by 16 is lesser, right, my dear students? 1 by 4 is greater thing because 1 by 4 is 0.25. 1 by 16 is very small thing. It will be reduced. So only, my dear students, since it is rational function, here x square only the greatest one. All others are smaller, smaller, smaller in this interval alone. From here to infinite, that will be reversed. X square will be the smallest one, all other things are going to be the greatest one, my dear students. And everything x square, everything they have shown in here. The graph will be, my dear students, if x square is like this, means x power will be like this. That graph will be reduced, my dear students. That parabola size will be reduced. It will go like this. So this is how the graph, my dear students. So whether it is wider or closer, that doesn't matter, my dear students. It satisfies all the properties what I said for x square. Okay. Now let's see for cube function, my dear students. For cube function, x power 2n minus 1, my dear. Why? X power 2n minus 1, my dear students, which is going to be an odd function. So its graph is symmetrical about origin or opposite quadrants. Just now we have seen, my dear students, in x cube function. Okay. So if n belongs to capital N, then the function is an odd function. Here also they have given the same comparison, my dear students. For certain interval, x is going to be lesser. For certain interval, x is going to be the greater one, because here negative is also matter. So we can't take like x square the greater thing. So for part by part, 0 to 1, 0 to minus 1 and minus 1 to infinite, 1 to infinite, I have to take the 4 possibilities, and they have mentioned all the 4 possibilities here, my dear students. So x belongs to 1 comma infinite. In case of 1 comma infinite, x is going to be the smallest value, my dear students. X cube, x power 5, like that it goes, because x is already I have said y is equals to x is the identity function. Whatever input I am going to give, same output I am going to get. So for me, no problem at all, my dear students. So x is going to be the smallest one from 1 to infinite, but x is going to be greater when 0 to 1, my dear students. As I said before, there will be the rational values. 1 by 2 is greater, my dear students, compared to 1 by 8. Correct only, no? 1 by 2 is 0.5, but 1 by 8 is what, my dear students? Surely it is going to be less than 0.5. So only in this interval, x is going to be the highest value. In 0 comma minus 1, since it goes to the negative side, whatever we have discussed, sorry, my dear students, here it is going to just change the value, my dear students, because it have become negative. So x is going to be smaller, and x cube, x power 5, everything going to be the higher value, my dear students. Then again, this value I have taken in negative, so everywhere sign have changed. I hope you understood it well, my dear students. If you have any kind of doubt, please don't hesitate to ask me. Ask me in the comment section. I am waiting for your comments to answer it, my dear students. Please ask me in the comment section, which gives me the immense of motivation to do so many videos to continue this lecture, my dear students. Just I have done only for polynomial function. Irrational is there, rational is there, piecewise functions are there. Still I have to teach for you calculus. So many things are there, my dear students. I will do it for you. But if you show your interest, it will give me so much interest, my dear students. That's all. So thank you, my dear students. Thanks for watching this video. Bye bye. Thank you, my dear students.